Dawn breaks over the eastern frontier. The horizon vibrates with a sound that doesn't belong to wind or weather. Rotor wash, deep and synchronized, rolls through the low fog. One by one, silhouettes emerge, matte black UH-60 Black Hawks descending in precise formation. Their landing lights cut through the haze like tracking beams. Local farmers pause mid-field. The ground trembles. It isn't a drill. Satellite data confirms what the eye can't deny. Rows of transport platforms appear near the Polish-Lithuanian border. 40 airframes at Lask. Another 60 over Rzeszów. The imagery shows rotor blades folded, containers lined, refueling trucks circling in silence. No official flight plans filed. No training notifications. The operation has no name. Inside regional command centers, monitors flicker between maps and live feeds. Air corridors fill with encrypted traffic. NATO transponders pulse irregularly. Civil aviation routes divert west. In Brussels, the daily briefing opens without mention of the movement. Reporters sense something withheld. At Powid's Air Base, an unmarked convoy unloads crates marked Aviation Fuel Module 4B. Mechanics work under blackout conditions. Engines idle in rotation, never fully shutting down. Every action timed, rehearsed, silent. The tempo suggests urgency without chaos. Orders come through data bursts, not voices. Eyewitnesses record endless formations at low altitude. Dozens of UH-60s sweeping north in pairs, following the terrain. Each bearing tactical identifiers erased by sand-gray paint. Residents describe the constant vibration in the air, a pulse that never fades. Highways near Suwałki fill with armored carriers. Temporary checkpoints appear overnight. Across the border, radar arrays in Kaliningrad light up. Russian monitors tag the movement, but receive no pattern. The density of signals scrambles algorithms. Every 10 seconds, a new contact appears, then disappears below treetop level. Command posts classify the activity as anomalous mass transfer. No one claims responsibility. By mid-morning, satellite loops capture the full scope. Nearly 200 helicopters distributed along a 300-kilometer corridor. The largest air mobility operation since the Balkan deployments. Analysts call it unprecedented. Yet the language from Washington remains absent. No press statement, no clarification, no leaks. Within NATO's internal channels, status lights shift from green to amber. Standby units in Germany and the Baltics receive silent alerts. Air traffic control prioritizes military corridors. The regional signal network spikes. Frequency bands, usually reserved for exercises, become active, encrypted, constant. On the ground, soldiers move without insignia. Maintenance crews refuel, rearm, relocate. Every motion clocked to the minute. The choreography suggests readiness rather than rehearsal. A single pattern emerges only when viewed from altitude, a slow arc of steel curving eastward. In underground monitoring rooms, analysts trade silence for focus. No one calls it an escalation, not yet. But the indicators align. Rapid deployment, field logistics, command silence. The data is clear, even if the meaning isn't. Every rotor, every reflection, every coded ping forms part of a system that wasn't supposed to exist here. The question moves faster than the aircraft themselves. If this isn't a drill, then what is it? Night falls without transition. The borderlands glow with the residue of rotor heat. In infrared, the terrain looks alive. Clusters of motion, supply convoys, fuel trucks tracing narrow lines through the forest. The helicopters are no longer moving in open daylight. They vanish beneath camouflage nets, rotors folded, engines sealed. The first phase is complete. Inside command posts, communications shift to low-band channels. Encryption protocols multiply. Analysts detect bursts of signal from mobile command nodes hidden across northeastern Poland. The data resembles field link calibration, short, repetitive, coded. Intelligence intercepts call it shadow layer activation. No nation acknowledges authorship. Across the region, weather drones pick up irregular energy spikes. Electronic warfare systems, new models, compact, are being tested. Locals in Podlaski report short blackouts, sudden losses of mobile service, bursts of static on radio. Officially, no interference exists. Unofficially, the air hums. At forward airfields, Blackhawks are fitted with sensor pods and external payload mounts. Crews work under red light. New call signs appear on internal flight maps. Alpha Talon, Echo Gate, Iron Stage. Observers notice that the serial numbers no longer match registry data. These aren't training aircraft. They're configured for fast insertion. In Brussels, the Defense Council meets behind closed doors. The statement issued afterward lasts 12 seconds. Routine readiness activity. No elaboration. Inside think tanks. The silence reads as confirmation. Satellite operators confirm heat signatures extending beyond Polish borders. Faint traces in Lithuania and Romania. The deployment has depth now. Analysts at Ramstein Base study the formation layouts. The UH-60s form concentric rings around logistics hubs, standard for perimeter defense, not exercises. Electronic intercepts reveal coordination with unmarked ground units, likely rapid response detachments. The term Aurora phase appears in one internal memo. It's redacted everywhere else. In the night sky, new signals appear. AWACS orbit patterns adjust northward. Data links sync with ground beacons. A network is forming, flexible, redundant, invisible. Intelligence channels whisper of a combined operations framework. A prototype command structure tested live under operational silence. The risk of exposure is deliberate. The ambiguity, tactical. From Kaliningrad to Minsk, Russian listening stations register distortion. Their scopes pulse with overlapping frequencies, impossible to isolate. Military analysts in Moscow mark it as non-linear interference. The phrase becomes headline material before being censored hours later. No one can track what moves under the noise. In the border towns, the rhythm becomes familiar. The hum of generators, the periodic thunder of liftoffs. Locals speak of invisible boundaries, lines of movement they can feel but not see. Reporters who approach the airstrips find sealed perimeters and silent guards. One phrase recurs among NATO technicians: stabilization protocol in motion. By the third night, the pattern is evident. Command posts built into hangars, temporary radar stations blending into civilian infrastructure, convoys shifting every 4 hours. The operation breathes like a single organism, silent, methodical, shielded by confusion. The outside world sees motion, but no motive. Inside situation rooms, a single thread dominates the screens. Readiness indicators rising toward the upper threshold. The message is implicit, unspoken. Something vast is taking shape under controlled visibility. Each hour deepens the coordination, each movement tightens the geometry. And as the Blackhawks vanish from satellite view, one by one under digital blackout, the region holds its breath. Every radar ping, every echo from the forest line becomes a question. What system is being built in silence, and when will it reveal its purpose? Dawn returns to the border. The fog is lighter now, the rhythm steadier. The operation that began without warning has settled into form. Rows of UH-60 Black Hawks stand aligned beneath camouflaged canopies, blades secured, fuel lines running to modular depots. What once appeared as chaos now reads as structure. Every unit has a defined role, every corridor a purpose. Command centers lift their communication silence. The transmissions are brief, procedural, calm. What was coded now becomes routine coordination. Flight schedules emerge, logistics routes stabilize, and maintenance rotations begin. The operation finally has a name: Sentinel Refit, a rapid response readiness framework stretching from the Baltic to the Black Sea. The intent is clear: create a self-sufficient network capable of deploying within minutes to any flashpoint along the eastern flank. The Black Hawk, designed for versatility, becomes the centerpiece of mobility. Configured for troop insertion, medical evacuation, cargo transport, or electronic warfare support, it turns logistics into deterrence. Each aircraft acts as both lifeline and message. Readiness is resilience. Analysts decode the purpose behind the silence. The movement wasn't escalation, it was restructuring. NATO's new concept of defense trades static deterrence for dynamic reach. By dispersing assets across multiple small hubs instead of one large base, the alliance reduces vulnerability and increases reaction speed. The model is modular, flexible, and deliberately transparent once operational. Visibility now equals stability. Inside the briefing rooms, instructors outline the doctrine. Rapid mobility in 4 layers: reconnaissance, insertion, sustainment, extraction. Each stage reinforced by real-time satellite data and secure communication grids. Exercises simulate humanitarian support, evacuation, and forward medical response, operations that can pivot instantly to defense if required. The Black Hawk is both shield and carrier, the connective tissue between ground and command. For personnel on the ground, the routine becomes methodical health. Crews rotate through cycles: flight, rest, recalibration. Physiological training accompanies tactical drills. Hydration, precision nutrition, controlled breathing, and fatigue management merge into the daily rhythm. Mental readiness mirrors mechanical readiness. A healthy operator sustains a reliable system. Civil-military coordination grows from necessity. Local infrastructure adapts. Temporary helipads on hospital grounds, mobile communication towers near highways, fuel depots doubling as emergency aid centers. Each measure strengthens regional preparedness, not for confrontation, but continuity. Stability comes from systems that can function under pressure. Strategic analysts summarize the lessons. Mobility is prevention. Transparency is control. Coordination replaces reaction. The silence that once signaled secrecy now becomes efficiency, a language of minimal delay. The Black Hawk fleet, once a symbol of urgency, evolves into an instrument of endurance. By the end of the week, the border no longer feels tense. It feels prepared. The skies hum softly with scheduled patrols. The towns nearby return to ordinary sound. The presence remains, but the pressure dissolves into order. What began as alarm transforms into structure, an architecture of readiness designed not for fear, but for resilience. The final assessment circulates through Allied channels. Sentinel Refit achieves full operational status. The air mobility network stands as both defense and aid corridor. Its lesson extends beyond strategy. Health in systems mirrors health in people. Stability through balance, endurance through adaptation. The last flight of the day lifts over the plain, slow and deliberate. No urgency, no noise, only precision. Each rotation of the blades echoes the final truth of the operation. Strength is not in escalation, but in the capacity to move, sustain, and recover. The skies above the frontier settle into quiet order, a reminder that preparedness, once achieved, is its own peace.